hold on. What implications did the Pop-Tart Bowl have on anything in college football, except for pride and a W, and winning that real life?
For your college football, nothing. But
Okay,
for recruiting and also for those players who are playing their last game, I don't want to go out and be like, man, we could have won this, but he decided to quit. I just don't like a guy saying I'm not gonna play. Why did you play in the first place?
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to everybody that said that, and none of you, absolutely none of you, are talking about football. You're talking about your own emotional feelings about how you feel about football was back in the days. Ladies, for all of your comfort and round the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUICVISITS.com. For all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear, make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that I tell you. Welcome everyone to another episode of No Jazz, not just another sports show. Again, I am one of your hosts, KD. And we all know that No Jazz is NOJASS. And to my right, your right, my left, however it ends up, I have my main man, partner, always in the trenches with me, Troy Polamalu, everyone. Nah, Tank. Tell the people what's up, Tank.
What's going on, people?
You see, I'm paying attention today, man. I'm paying attention.
Yeah, the Head and Shoulders did a little job on me.
Yeah, head and shoulders. Been a minute. Absolutely. And we like to welcome everyone, all of our new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sending us the emails. You all have been very gracious and kind of giving us your time.
Got rhymes.
Boy, they didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Then we have, of course, all of our new followers. I don't even like to call them followers, due to just certain things with me as far as social media is concerned. I like to call them cohorts and friends. On X, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook page, and our Facebook group. And make sure you remember to follow us on all those things. X, No Jazz Show. TikTok, No Jazz Show. YouTube, where our platform resides, No Jazz Show. Instagram, NOJ.A.S. and everything. And so, with that being said, we thank you for joining us, and we thank you for joining us with this show that we're about to partake upon today. Whole lot of interesting sports things happening. Hope everybody had a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, leading into your New Year's and your New Year's resolutions. And which brings us to this point, New Year's resolutions. It's kind of one of those things. If you could have any New Year's resolutions, I know we try to start that thing off on the 1st, bring in a new regime, take away some old habits, bring in some new habits. And Tank presented us with a question, and it was in regards to if you could gift your team. And since we're on the New Year's Eve theme as well, if your team could have a facelift or some New Year's resolutions for your team, what would you give your team?
Let me see. It'd be a few things. One.
Okay, hold on. Me and you and any other 30 teams in the NFL could probably have a whole 2-hour show on some things.
Yeah.
We give our team. So, your top 5 things. Because we got to limit it. Because we understand. Your top 5 things you would give your team as a gift or you would want them to turn into a New Year's resolution and just have a facelift for your team?
I would resolve that Najee plays and executes to the best of his ability at his peak, at his maximum efficiency that we've ever seen in his career. Whatever his best game, overall game has been, that's what I want to see as long as he's playing it for the Steelers.
And this is not in any particular order. This is not your 5. This is not your 1.
Right.
You just, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Also, I want to see an offensive line that not only opens holes for the running game, but keeps the quarterback clean and upright throughout the game. Third, I would like to see Austin, our defensive coordinator, stop all that freaking passive zone crap and start being aggressive and start blitzing. There's a reason why we would name Blitzburg in the 90s, and there's no reason for us not to release the hounds practically at least every other play, and not just in passing situations. Third, I would love to see George Pickens in the news for his excellent play on the field and nothing else. That was 4. Fifth, ring, baby. That's what it's all about.
Another one?
A ring. Yep.
Another one?
Yep.
Break the tie with
New England.
Break the tie with New England and tie Tom Brady. Now,
yeah.
My 5, and just so everyone knows, I didn't limit it down to 5 for Tank as much as I limited it down to 5 for me. Just so you all know. But my top 2 is get rid of Dak Prescott. That's my 1 and 2. I just don't like it. I don't even want to give the whole narrative of, but he's a great person, great personality, and bringing it. I didn't ask for a politician. I asked for a quarterback. I didn't ask for a mayor. I didn't ask for a great father. I asked for a quarterback. That's what I want. So those are my top 2. Now I only have 3. I wish I could give, because this is something that, no team has, but this is something that I wish we had, because it seemed like we had it, but I think we never actually had it. We just had a heck of a depth chart in the 90s. But I would ask for health for all of my defensive players for at least 1 year. To watch us play depleted and watch these kids learn trial by fire without having like good linemen in front of them, especially our DB core. And we've had a lot of people hurt. We had a lot of people hurt on our D line. So a healthy defense across the board would definitely be great for me. So now I'm at my 4th one. It's tough. Running game. I really want something that doesn't exist anymore, and that's a bell cow. Running back. I really want a running back that is everything you want. He can slow the game down in a blowout, doesn't fumble, has a nose for the end zone. That would be great. That would be awesome for me. And my 5th one. How can I word this and say 2 things at the same time?
Just like a cowboy trying to steal. I need 5. He said 5, I'm gonna give him 6.
I took 2 from myself already. I want such and such. Oh, watch how I put this one on. Dress this one up. I would like a new head football coach that has more power and presence than Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones accepts him.
So you want Bill Belichick to leave UNC before he gets there?
No. And because you said, I would want, here's what I would want. I would want Bill Belichick's resume or Andy Reid's resume in the body of one of the Harbaugh brothers. Like I want him to be a little younger. You know what I mean? I don't want the coach to be that old. I'll even take a McVay age. I want him to be young and able to, have a rapport with the players, but not so out of touch. And this is not saying that Reid is out of touch. It's just I want him to have early success so the respectability is I can look at you and I got to respect the fact that you've done it on the field, even though you're not that far away from me in age.
I got you.
You know, I think this is what helped. Even though he didn't win that much, he was a winner and he won early. I think this is what helped Madden, because he wasn't that old. I think this is what helped early Dick Vermeil, early Jimmy Johnson. Like Jimmy Johnson wasn't old, you know. Mike T.
Okay. You need a big personality, sort of like kind of like a rock star persona, but not empty calories. Look, I've got pelts on the wall that shows that I know what I'm doing. It shows that I won before.
Exactly.
So you're gonna listen to me and you respect me.
Exactly.
And not
But pushing 50, not quite 50. You know, so I can have you for a little while, and then, you know, football, they're not gonna burn you out. You know, Bill Cowher. You know, I think we need that, and players will not run to their daddy or their granddaddy and Jerry every time, you know. And then somebody that can put their chest up against Jerry and say, "Granddaddy, sit down."
Right.
You know, I think that's the area. I'll say mid-50s, pushing 60. I'll even take that. But 45 to 60.
Yeah.
Somewhere up there.
Yeah, it makes sense. And hopefully you won't get it.
You know, hopefully a lot of teams won't get it, because I think that's just where we are in this era of football. Now, speaking of this era of football and speaking of coaching, we saw another NFL, college. We can also add into that state great, and Michael Vick as well. I'm gonna go Michael Vick first.
Support SUPPORT.
I'm gonna go Michael Vick first. Be announced as the head coach for Norfolk State, Virginia, and he is now what will be the fourth in a trend, third or fourth in a trend of third since Dion.
Third and a big name, because there are others who are already there and some who've been fired since this offseason, since the season started.
Right.
People didn't even know they were coaching, like Bubba McDowell at Prairie View.
At Prairie View, right. Yeah. And you know what? I wanna address something right fast before we get into to thoughts of Michael Vick, thoughts of Deshaun Jackson. I want people to understand that this is the latest spark that this has happened. But we can't forget the highly decorated Larry Little, Hall of Famer, a Miami Dolphin lineman, who they was using his. Yeah. We got to think we don't have social media at this time, so it was a big deal. When Bethune-Cookman College took him on in '83, and then Florida A&M at that time took their former player Ken Riley in 1986 and made him a head coach, and he's a Hall of Famer now. Ken Riley, second or third all-time NFL interceptions. You know,
he's in the top 5. Yeah,
top 5. Played baseball as well. You know, in a talent pool where until Vince Coleman, you know, decided to play baseball and Prime came along, he kind of was like using what would be a Terminator term. He was like a 1.0 type Prime. And then 5 years later, Grambling does the same thing with Doug Williams. You know, and then Ken Riley retires and FAMU goes in to their old stable with a Buffalo Bills running back and get Billy Joe. So like it's nothing new. I don't want anybody to believe it's nothing new. It's just that Prime holds such a high personality and what he did, because HBCUs kind of went down to a degree, and he brought them back to light in this media era. So it seems like Prime is getting a lot of, and this is nothing against Prime, he's getting a lot of
He's leading the resurgence.
He's leading the resurgence. Yeah, he's leading a resurgence that was already happening. Like this is traditional.
Yeah, Terrence Mathis did it.
Exactly.
At the East Summit. I mean, so yeah, like I say, it's not new. It's just new. Now it carries a whole lot of. It's getting a lot of pub now.
Exactly.
Because it's a social media age, and like you said, his persona is so big that okay, let's see what he's doing, because we don't hear anything about what Eddie George is doing, even though he's quiet. He won the SWAC this year.
Even though he
made it to the bowl game. Yeah. We don't hear anything about Eddie George because Eddie is low key. He's not out front. He's not
exactly. Always had that persona.
He's approached it differently. Yeah.
Right. And we can't expect all of these players because everyone is not. I'm almost to the assumption, and I know I'm correct when I say this. Persona means a lot because probably arguably one of the greatest football players to play the game, Jerry Rice. If Mississippi Valley State asked him to come back, we wouldn't hear that he had won his conference because his persona, even as a player, wasn't.
Yeah, you just knew he was great, but you
just knew he was great, but you didn't know. Exactly. So I guess in the new resurgence, what you're seeing, and this is probably due to something that happened years ago in the 80s, is D1 Division I players are coaching at HBCUs, whereas the old regime was coming from HBCUs, but that's not to say that wasn't Division I talent way back then. They just only could play at HBCUs. So it just looks different, but it's not really anything new. Now, what's your opinion on Michael Vick obtaining this position as well as Deshaun Jackson, who obtained one as well?
I guess my thing is, and I understand why they did it. He's from their area. He's still got a name. He's looked at as one of the guys, and some would say he's the guy that brought in, dual threat quarterbacks and having, some people say, he brought it in or he made it more mainstream. So those are the types of quarterbacks that most schools are going after, and particularly as HBCUs, that's all they're going to go after. And he theoretically should be able to recruit the state and surrounding areas for guys who aren't quite D1 P5 prospects, either be it academically or athletically. They're an inch too short, they're 10 pounds too light, they're half a step too slow, but they just need to be developed. My only thing is, and it's not a shot, and I'm sure he's changed now, but for someone who admitted that during his time, particularly in Atlanta, and even after he left Philly, didn't have his nose in the books, learn the playbook, learn his craft, and try to improve. So I want to see how he's going to be able to drive that home to his players, particularly the quarterbacks. I think, because he has zero coaching experience also, I think he's going to need to go the route that Eddie George went. Eddie George had zero coaching experience. Never thought about becoming a head coach until 6 months prior to accepting the job because they presented it to him. Eddie is basically a CEO. He's gone out and recruited. He's recruited talent, but the talent he's recruited has been in the coaching staff. Guys who can coach and get these guys up to speed and everything. So he's more like a CEO. He's not the one doing all this. You don't even hear anything about what Eddie, he's done this, he's done that. But he's brought in talented coaches and let them do what they do best as it falls in line with his vision for the team. I think that's what Vick is going to have to do, because he's going to find out, and he said it himself, I'm not Deion. And I'm glad he knows that. And I hope that Norfolk State, the alum, the player, but I do think he can have that same kind of impact. And to also get into Deshaun Jackson, who spent this past season coaching high school football. So he has a year of coaching experience. And I'm not saying, oh, that's fun, but again, I know why they did it. They're doing it to get these guys in. And Deshaun is one of these guys that these kids who are coming out, they have seen him play, even though it's in his later years. So he's relatable to them as well. He's only in his 30s. So, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't like it for coaches who really paid their dues and just get bypassed because it's a nice, flashy new car. You don't know how it's gonna run. It's the prototype. It's just coming off the lot. It looks good. They say it performed well, but you don't know. You haven't seen it on the road yet. Nobody's bought one. I don't like it for coaches who've really been out there and working their way up. Started out as a assistant special teams coach and has worked their way up, and now they're assistant head coach. They interview, or maybe they don't even get the interviews because this guy played in the league and has a cultural impact. So that's who we're gonna bring in. But he ain't never coached before. Yeah, but if we tell somebody, hey, we just hired Samuel Thompson as a head coach, and we say we just hired Mike Vick as a head coach, what do you think is going to get people riled up and excited? And I mean, life isn't fair. I understand that, but it worked for one. It's worked for two of them recently. So maybe, hopefully, for Norfolk State, it'll work for them, and Deshaun will have some success as well. But and like I say, I get it, but I just don't like the fact that you got guys with no experience coming in and you running. Let's put it this way. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. It's our show. We can say we want to say. It's like getting a guy who's never held political office, but he's got money. And he's into pop culture. He's into pop culture lexicon, and you elect his dumb ass the president. And
I honestly thought you were gonna go somewhere else when you said it's our show. We can say what we want to say. So thank you for allowing me to have the opportunity to tell you, because you were dancing. You're dancing around the obvious. Dancing around the obvious, and you know what it is.
Yeah,
Don't
I mean,
dance. Don't dance, Tank. You know what it is.
It's the same thing. I just feel that generally you need to have experience in what you're trying to do. If you aren't, to be the head of whatever it is you're trying to do, you need to have some experience. You shouldn't just automatically just be, because of a name or money, now you're the head of this and you have no experience whatsoever. You don't know what you're doing. And that's my fear for when they do this to these guys. Because if a guy fails miserably, it's his fault, man. Everything that you can detract from him why he didn't make it is going to be piled on him and used against him. But you're not going to fault the administration for hiring somebody who wasn't qualified in the first place. And Alabama A&M, they reached out. They're trying to get Ed Reed in. What he did on the field. Yeah. Ed Reed, for what he did on the field, yes, nobody's going to doubt or question his ability on the field as a player. And I will give him this. He has been coaching and assisting in Miami. So he knows him, but he's got to be able to deal with the shortcomings financially and everything else that you're going to deal with in HBCU compared to a P5 program.
Here's the thing. Thank you for your input. Here's where I thought you were going to go, and this is just the truth. We live in an era, especially in social media, and I'm not blaming social media, but social media is the place where we have found out that if you're not fully in support of somebody black, you're hating.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the cost of us looking like what we're trying to do is keep you from doing it halfway, based upon what you feel everyone else is doing. And so the thing is, and I'll go ahead and say it, black people are looking at what Prime did and they're reading the cliff notes instead of reading the full book. Prime got his skill set in coaching in the Pop Warner, on the high school, on to college. He built his leadership skills for years. He built his management skills for years. Prime also, because the cream gonna rise to the top, based upon your point you said as far as getting the popular guy. Prime also lost twice to coaches. The same coach you said that weren't getting opportunity, those same coaches are still going to beat Mike Vick. Those same coaches still beating Eddie George now. So they're going to have to be humble. Prime just has a persona. Because Prime argued one thing. Prime's wins did not get him out of Jackson State. Prime's persona and Prime's argument that he started at the beginning of the infrastructure of what was going on in HBCUs, who needed to come in and have the finances to compete with Power Fives. He told you, the guys in my skill positions are fine. But the guys in my interior line, they're not. They don't have the same rehabilitation programs and dietary programs as the Power Five have. These kids are not coming here because they cannot be fulfilled. And this is not just NIL. This is just, they can't be fulfilled. So my thing is, Deshaun Jackson, nothing against you. Mike Vick, nothing against you. The argument Ed Reed had why he didn't take Bethune-Cookman's job was the same thing, because he was listening to Prime. Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson didn't look to the level that Deion was trying to get it to. Then we'll take these jobs. Because you can't move. Even Prime couldn't move one thing without the other. He had to leave. Prime couldn't put the cart before the horse. He had to leave. And so we're just seeing another, because this is not to say PWIs and our white counterparts don't hire with trends. If they see a great young offensive coordinator that has a wide open offense, they go out and get that. But they do not. They don't touch that head coaching thing, because they understand that that's a recruiting thing. That's a going to those parents' house, because the most important thing about college football is recruiting. The most important thing when you get to the league is execution. But number one in college football is recruiting.
And you got to be able to recruit. You got to be able
to recruit. They're just thinking, I got Mike Vick, I can recruit. No. Mike Vick has to sell a facility. He has to sell
Think about it.
You
think about it. They're in Virginia. Yeah, they're in Virginia. And if he takes them to Norfolk State to show them their facilities, and the kid is a good enough athlete and is highly recruited that he can go anywhere.
Virginia? He's not going to Norfolk State.
He's going to see Virginia. He's going to see Virginia Tech. He's going to see West Virginia. And I'm just talking about schools right there. He's going to see them and be like, wait a minute. Why would I come here other than because it's Vic?
Exactly.
They got all this other stuff. When's the last? Because remember, everybody, all these kids, for the most part, delusional or not, feel as though they're going to be playing on Sundays. What player has come from Norfolk State that's in the NFL? That's what they're going to ask.
They got to go back before the 80s. They got to go back before the 80s. Deshaun Jackson, you had a great career, but guess what? You're no Jerry Rice and you're no Randy Moss to pull Travis Hunter into believing you're one of one.
Right.
So I got to learn under your tutelage. Mike Vick, you're not a one of one. You're not going to make a quarterback say, I can't be you at a PWI. I need to learn to be you at Norfolk State. You're not going to do. You're not prime in that. You're not prime in that sense. That's why I say they should have told him no. Fix your infrastructure, because this is just another one of those things. Like I say, black people see something, it's trendy, and they go reading the Cliff Notes. Look at Prime's full ascension. You can't just say, that's what I'm gonna do. I cannot stand that, and I'm gonna be honest with myself when I say it. There's nothing against what I think they may do. It's just, you're gonna still be HBCU. You're gonna still be competing with Power Fives. That is not what Prime. That was not Prime's intent. I mean, underneath.
Yeah, it's sticky. It's tricky, because you want to get these names and you want to get players to come back, but you have to give them something to come back to. Besides, I played for such and such. I didn't get drafted. I'm not an NFL prospect. What does what does I played for Mike Vick? What does that really have?
What does that really mean?
What does that mean for me? What does, it's great. And if he helps develop you and does all these things and you get to the league, great. But you got to capture and get things right where you are first and be the elite. If they can become if Vic is able to get them to become an elite program amongst HBCUs, they're on the right path. Not trying to go up and take guys who will be going to deep Power Fives. If you get one who decides, I come there, or okay, it doesn't work out for me at this Power Five, okay, I enter the portal and come to Norfolk State. That's what ideally, that's where you would like for them to be in the next few years. That, hey, if I don't make it at this P5, Norfolk State is the first place I want to go. And then get to where, man, Norfolk State's got these guys from who are at P5s, and they're putting them out there. They're doing well. They're making it to the league. Right. Yeah. And then you can say, okay, we feel as though we're in a position we can compete with the lower level P5s and keep working our way up. But you got to step. You got to take steps. You can't just, okay, we'll be right here now. No, you're not.
No, you're not. Even Prime figured out at a PWI with all of the assets, it was still some work to do. So like I said, Cliff Notes. And I personally, I'm happy for guys because I think that's what we have to say in this day and age, but it's not the right move. Now, moving on. Speaking of Michael Vick proteges, you know what? Speaking of Michael Vick and what you said as far as, that level.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Vick proteges, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen being what, North Dakota State?
Josh was at Wyoming.
That Wyoming and North Dakota, still that pipeline taking you to the NFL. They're not backtracking to putting the HBCU in that name. Nevertheless, pointing that out, along with Saquon Barkley, and I'm still going to put Derrick Henry in there. It is a tight race for the NFL MVP. So I'm asking you, Tank, because numerically, people are wondering, why is this even a conversation based upon what Lamar is doing in comparison to Josh Allen? Why is this even a conversation as of today? And we're going to get into him, what Saquon Barkley's doing, embarking upon breaking a record. So who really is leading the field to you as far as the NFL MVP race?
Part of it, and I admit, is a bias for the position. And I had Barkley as my MVP because I believe that if you take Barkley out of that Philly offense, they're not doing what they're doing. But also, I got to, Henry is right there because definitely if you remove Henry, you don't get that from Lamar. I think everybody keeps talking about Lamar's numbers and they use that as an argument as to why Josh Allen shouldn't get it because his numbers are better than Allen's, other than the win-loss. You have to remember, people, MVP does not mean you're the best player in the league. There's few people who would probably question or debate if Lamar is the best football player in the league. But I do not think he's the most valuable because if you take Derrick Henry away, you get what you've been getting. And it's not about numbers either because Lamar's numbers were pedestrian last year and they gave him an MVP. So it's not about who's got the best numbers. It's not because my dark horse, really, and again, his team not doing well. He has no defense. He's got nothing going for him other than he's got two receivers and he's got a running back who stepped up who's now hurt. For a true MVP, you take Josh Allen out, Buffalo is 5 wins. Who are his receivers? Who's this tight end? He's got James Cook in the backfield. James Cook cannot carry that team you cannot carry that team and be effective with a lesser quarterback. Same argument goes for Joe Burrow. People say what they want to say or whatever, but the numbers Joe Burrow is putting up behind no offensive line and a trash defense. I mean, and what they saw, he is the epitome of what an MVP, not just for your team, but in the league, because that team, and they're 500 now. That team is really a 2 or 3 win team with a lesser quarterback. He's willing that team to victory. What he did yesterday, incredible. I mean, He's not going to get it. He's not going to win because of his team's record. But MVP means that your impact in your team's success, your impact upon your team's success, and your impact upon the league, period. If you take that out, a whole chunk of what's going on in the league shifts. You can take Lamar out and put in a lesser quarterback who has the same style of play and get similar results. You take Josh Allen out and put in a guy who can just drop back and sling it, but can't move and isn't an excellent passer. They aren't going anywhere. And I've already said how I feel about Saquon. So out of those three, put my running back bias aside, I would say Burrow, but he's not going to get it. So out of those 4 who are in the running, I would give it to Barkley. And I'm not saying
running back bias aside.
Yeah, I think that Barkley is more integral to the success of Philly than the others are, than Henry is by a smidgen. And that really and truly, that's looking at
are you looking at numbers between him and Henry?
Well, the numbers come into play with those two because they're both having their seasons remind me of Jamal Anderson and Terrell Davis when they both you had a 2,000-yard rusher and then Jamal comes in with 1,800 yards. That they're close. I mean, if you give it to Henry over Saquon, I'm not gonna argue. But Saquon is more involved in the passing game, so that's why I give him the nod. As far as best player in the league, I don't have a real debate if you say Lamar is the best football player in the league, but he's not the MVP, in spite of the numbers he's putting up. Now, you want to make him Offensive Player of the Year, you can try to do that, but you still got it. But that means you're putting him against Saquon. But if you make him Offensive Player of the Year, okay, fine. But Saquon should get the MVP. I don't think Lamar is the MVP. And I've seen all these people arguing online, talking about this numbers and this, that, and the other. And I keep telling them, I say, MVP does not mean you're the best player. You've got teams that have won Super Bowls. Their best player was not their MVP. Their MVP was not their best player. They're not synonymous. They can be, and at the same time they can't be. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. It's not, people are numbers crazy though. And as we mentioned earlier, there's also a racial barrier.
I think I hear your running back bias, but I think your numbers crazy. I think you're being a little numbers crazy, getting caught up too. And here's why. Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson, I agree with you with Burrow. Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson are actually my 4 and 5. You can swap either one. And I do this. Put Josh Allen in that offense with Derrick Henry. What are they doing?
Winning.
Put Josh Allen in that offense with Saquon Barkley. What are they doing?
They should be winning.
Now, put Lamar Jackson on Josh Allen's team.
What? Yeah, he probably have about 1,100 yards rushing, and they'd be saying he needs a lot of help.
They'll be saying he needs a lot of help. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson could not make those receivers on Buffalo look as good as he does with his Buffalo team. And Josh Allen would make the receivers that Lamar Jackson is working with and tight end look better with a better arm than what Lamar Jackson had. Let's be honest. Josh Allen with Skinny Batman and what's his name? Number 1, the Eagles.
It's Brown.
And take out Jalen Hurts and put Josh Allen in, and you swap all that around. That's your MVP. He's number 1. It's not numbers. I can place him. I have to put him in that Patrick Mahomes situation where I plug him into different spots, and he makes where you have your guys that much better. Now, my number 2, Derrick Henry. It's not numbers. Derrick Henry has lesser numbers because Derrick Henry is already rushed for 2,000. We understand that when you have a 2,000-yard rusher, you kind of need him for the playoffs. You kind of need him for next year. You're gambling that Saquon Barkley is going to be ready for you when we need him in the postseason. I hope he is. But we can look at history of a 2,000-yard rusher. That next season, they're not the same. Everybody ain't built like that. Derrick Henry ain't built like that. Eric Dixon wasn't even built like that. Eric Dixon hit for 18, and he rushed for the 2105. Dropped back down, and then came back.
To 12. Yeah, 1,200, and then back up. Yeah, but my thing with that, I know I've seen that a few times. I know Barry, but you're not going to, you shouldn't expect them to get 2,000 of the next season or close. But
no. That's not the expectation I'm getting at.
But there is a drop off when they hit, especially when they hit 400.
Even OJ dropped off, and the thing is, I don't even know if Philadelphia's people are looking at OJ, Eric, Derek, Jamal, Chris, Adrian Peterson. What did they do in the playoffs? Let's look at the 18. Let's look at the 1,800-yard guys. You beat down. So So what I'm saying is, I can't look at Derrick Henry's numbers, even though I have him number 2. I can't make Derrick Henry's numbers make me justify Saquon over him, because I think they're spelling him. I think they're rationing him out. To be totally honest with you, he can if they wanted to, Derrick can pump it out and be right up there in who's going to get who's going to have the most yards. If they wanted to, I think they're rationing him out. So Saquon's numbers in this regard, I don't think he's more valuable than Derrick, because look at what Derrick does for Lamar that Saquon with all those yards can't do for Jalen. And Jalen has better receivers. But they arguing about football is football. Football is football. The run opens up the pass. Go look at Barry's 2,000-yard season. I guarantee you it was Herman Moore's best season. I guarantee you it was Scott Mitchell's best season when Emmett got high yards.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing Brown and Skinny Batman have like Jalen Hurts should be in the conversation.
He's just not that. He's just not that good of a passer. I mean, online. He isn't, and regardless of what's going on around him, he's effective, but he's not ever going to be an elite passer.
Exactly. And look at what Derrick Henry has done for a man who his passing has been questionable, to say the least. It's been questionable. No one feels Lamar is that great of a passer, because they don't feel he's Josh Allen. So my point is, as I connect the dots, if Josh Allen had Barkley, those receivers, or Cook, any one of those teams, what would he be?
I think he'd be unanimous.
The voting would be crazy well out. Probably somewhere near an undefeated record. Now, that's why I say it's Josh Allen outside of the numbers. Then it's Derrick Henry outside of the numbers. Then it's Burrow, Saquon, and Lamar. Because value is, I'm able to look like I'm passing all these yards because this big old dude back here is allowing me to make you pick your poison.
Yeah. I think that if Lamar, I think with him, people are looking at it as putting all these other things in. Well, he's got 2 MVPs. He's done this. And I mean, it's almost like they're trying to give him a pinnacle or a climax to his career, like doing this and then and a Super Bowl too. If he gets, but the numbers are incredible he's got this year. And
I mean, sometimes you get penalized for winning it a lot, because there's no way to
I just don't think that.
Calculate Mahomes' value.
Yeah, I just don't think that Lamar value to the overall game of football is at the level of some of these other guys. And somebody's gonna say, "Man, you crazy! Look at his numbers," but it's not numbers, and it's not being the best player. You can be the best player and not the most valuable.
Absolutely. Like
but that's what people are getting confused. He's the best player, so he got to be the most valuable.
Your guy RC tried to say, and I disagree with him totally. I understood his premise, but I disagree with him totally. He tried to look at where Lamar is. They don't see his value because of the type of quarterback he is. And I look at it like, and he was like, you had to have Randall Cunningham to open the door for Michael Vick, to open the door for RG3, to open the door for Lamar Jackson, to open the door, for who's ever going to be next doing that. So they need to respect that, and he placed it around a frame in context of the black quarterback. And see, that's where he lost me, because RC, you totally forgot about Warren Moon though. Warren Moon and Doug. We're gonna stand in the pocket and air that thing out. You're acting like our top 2 quarterbacks in college right now, black or white, and they just happen to be black. They don't play like Lamar or Vick. You totally disregarded Donovan McNabb. You totally disregarded Aaron McNair. They don't play like that. So, and they were disrespected too. So you can't just put that style of quarterback as this, we need to value this because, these guys open up the door. All black quarterbacks don't play like that though.
Yeah, you can't. That's not a prerequisite for the position.
That's not a prerequisite for blackness at quarterback. And we've had years where these guys have shown you, your guy, the actual first black quarterback in the league. And it's not about black quarterbacks. I'm from Grambling. What was his name?
Doug. Doug Williams.
No, played for Pittsburgh.
From Tennessee State.
Tennessee State.
Yeah, Joe Gilliam.
Parnell Dickerson. Tall, stand in the pocket, air that thing out. That attribute is not all black quarterbacks. I just don't like the way he put that.
Now, if you want to put it and say a quarterback who plays this way, and you say, hey, until a quarterback that plays that way or similar wins a Super Bowl, there's going to be a knock on him. And it doesn't matter that what shade his skin is.
And Steve Young did not play
that way when he got there. They'd already coached that out of him.
They coached that out of him. That was gone. That was gone. Charlie Ward didn't even play that way. There's a difference between a running quarterback and a scrambler that can run. That's different. Yeah. So don't do that. Like I didn't like the way he kind of bubbled that into that. Like, this is all no, bro. We've had some dogs with some arms that put that thing in there. He was saying, I forgot. He said Mike Vick led to Cam Newton. Cam Newton led to Lamar Jackson. Cam Newton name was in there too. What's up, Cam? Shout out to Cam. But at any rate, so you have Saquon leading MVP. I have Josh Allen. All right, now segueing into. Oh, did you have one more thing to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, if either one of those 2 wins, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And if Burrow somehow I think Burrow possibly could surprise some people, could surprise us and win if Cincinnati slides into the playoffs next week. With a win and some help next week, because all of this, that, and other, and you don't win. don't even make the playoffs, you aren't going to do it. But one more thing, and this is the guy who he wasn't the league MVP, but he was defensive player of the year. So you really, and I'd say this to tie this in with Burrow not having a lot of wins, you can still be awarded those high honors. Cortez Kennedy was the defensive player of the year on a team that went 2-14.
Support SUPORT.
It's different from league MVP, but to be the defensive player of the year, meaning you're the best defensive player in the league, and your team went 2-14. What does that tell you?
Cortez Kennedy, the University of Miami.
Lord, here we.
Did he do that? Did he do that when he was in Seattle? Okay.
2-14. Defensive player of the year. Sounds ridiculous when you think about it. How can you be the defensive player of the year and your team won 2 games?
It actually sounds ridiculous because how can you be the defensive player of the year at defensive tackle?
Yeah.
like you are Jerome Brown and Warren Sapp and before Warren Sapp, because Cortez came before him. You know, Bryant Young, like you on some other level, like that's hard in its own.
Yeah, that puts you in Joe Green status, even though they were winning.
Even though Joe Green's push was putting W's in there. So yeah, it's like that's a tough status with U's.
Yeah,
that is a tough status with W's at that position. So shout out to Cortez Kennedy. Shout out to that great segue into the University of Miami. You know, even though we were tailing off of pocket quarterbacks, big news last night, bowl games. I want before I go here, because you know where I'm going. But before I go here, I just want to ask: did Shedeur or Cam Ward hurt their status in a loss? NFL draft status?
Absolutely, positively not. There's game film from the past couple of years that any competent scout is going to look at and not throw out one game, throw them away because of one game.
You can help yourself. You can help yourself with a bowl game last game, but you don't hurt yourself.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I think Shedeur didn't play well, but they also played the best team and the best schemed and best coach team that they played this year. And it showed. They would. And I don't think it was a thing about, where they weren't focused. Them guys had never been to a bowl game before. They were focused and wanted to win because, dang, we never played more. We never been playing in December.
You know what else they played? You know what else they played? Who leads BYU? I guarantee you, if you look, they probably played the most experienced seniors.
Yeah.
That they played all year. They had it with men. You know, like.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
And I'm not gonna jump on them or jump on Dion about, man, you had 2 bowl games at Jackson State and you lost. Now you got a bowl game here and you lost. No, Tom Osborne had a losing bowl record. So I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. It would have been nice for their fan base to win one, but they're growing.
Exactly.
Then hopefully they can continue. And I don't think
that might be Prime's coaching ghost. I can't win bowl game. Everybody has one.
Yeah. Bo Schembechler never won a national championship.
Exactly.
But Bo is regarded as one of the best to ever do it.
Who was is it Phil Fulmer? Couldn't beat Florida?
Phil Fulmer Phil Fulmer couldn't do it, and because his successor did, because they won a national championship.
Right, his successor. Did Lane Kiffin?
No, it was Phil. No, Fulmer won a championship. Before that, it was Johnny Majors.
Maybe Johnny Majors was Fulmer won one. Johnny Majors couldn't. Yeah. So everybody has a ghost in coaching that
I don't
disallows you to like the guy at Ohio State with what he's doing with Michigan, even though he's going on long in the playoff. That's his ghost.
Yeah. I think Ward hurt himself in a sense. Overall, I don't think it's going to hurt him. His public image But his image and what people think of him took a hit when he quit on his teammates.
Let's get into that. Everybody is on the. I want to set it up. Everybody is on the Cam Ward quit on his team platform, and I want to hear, because you just said that his public image took a hit. So you tell me how you assess what he did. Like I kind of want to hear your thoughts on him, because I don't even agree with the term quitting, but the people who are using it to support their argument are using the word quitting. So you tell me how you feel about that.
I think that he placed himself above the team. Now, if he wanted to just get the record, he got the record. But then he pulled himself. And I don't know if he's going to say if he had any kind of injury, if he felt a little tightness in his hamstring and say, hey, I'm not going back in, fine. I would say, okay, because, hey, you don't want this to turn into something else when and this is your last season and you're going to be a first round pick. I will understand that. But just to pull yourself, and we haven't heard his reason yet. At least I haven't heard his reasoning for doing it. So, but it appears that he pulled himself because he got the record and didn't want to risk anything for getting drafted. But my thing is this: if you're not going to play the whole game, just don't play. Just sit out. Your top receiver, he didn't play. You could have just sat out. I mean, I don't need you to. It'd be one thing if you got us, hey, we're up by 30 or 40 points at halftime, and the coach says, hey, I think we can handle this. We can win this without you. Are you all right? You mind? I'm going to bench you. I'm going to sit you. And he's like, okay, yeah, that works. But in the hard fought game, and I just feel as though he placed himself above the team. And you're going to the NFL. You're going to be a first round draft pick. I'm the third receiver. I'm the slot guy, or I'm the right tackle who's a walk on, and finally got a scholarship in my junior year. I earned a scholarship. I was a 2 chipper at best. I was a 2-star athlete recruit coming out of high school at best. And no one in no Power 5 wanted me. So I walked on. I mean, now I'm here, and I know I'm not playing football again after today.
Why didn't you be that guy the 10 games leading up to when you had that quarterback who was breaking records? Like if you're that guy, if that's your point, if you're that guy who is going through all of that, and you realize you have this guy, like he didn't break a game record, he broke a season record, which means he was doing a lot in the season. So if that's your point, and you're that guy, why didn't you make yourself seen game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, game 6, when you notice you got a dog back here that can put you at another level? Why didn't you Restrepo'd in? Restrepo wasn't Restrepo broke his records before the season over with.
No,
Restrepo's not an NFL type quarterback until wide receiver until now. So why? And I'm going off your point, because I don't even think that guy exists. I think you're just making a point.
No, I'm saying, my point is, if I'm you're that guy, and this is because most of those guys playing for Miami, those seniors, they aren't playing again. That was their last game.
Anyway,
they want to go out. Yeah, that was the last game. I want to win this last game, and you're our best chance to win. And you decide that you're not going to play after halftime. Why didn't you just sit out and we just struggle through it and try to have this guy, have our backup come in and practice all this time to get us through, instead of you? Yeah, I got it. We got this, y'all. Y'all ready? You fired up? Yeah.
What was the score at halftime?
I'm not playing. Yeah.
Who's in the league?
Why would you?
Miami.
Yeah. So why would you quit though? The game was not.
The game was. Hold on. What implications did the Pop-Tart Bowl have on anything in college football, except for pride and a W, and winning that real life?
For your college football, nothing. But for recruiting and also for those players who are playing their last game, I don't want to go out and be like, man, we could have won this, but he decided to quit. I just don't like a guy saying I'm not gonna play. Why did you play in the first place?
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to everybody that said that, and none of you, absolutely none of you, are talking about football. You're talking about your own emotional feelings about how you feel about football was back in the days. All your food delivery needs, make sure you go to Light Snack. That's LYTE snack.com. And make sure for all your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. Because let's be real. You said that recruiting. Okay, hold on.
No, you asked why. What? Did it have? It's recruiting, but as a player and your teammate, I don't need you just quitting on me.
You need him to get out of the way. You said recruiting, so let me tell you what recruiting is now. You need him to get out of the way, so the guy who's in the portal or the guy who's on the third depth chart who might leave because he don't know what that new quarterback looking like, he might need to go over there and see what a quarterback look like. Don't get himself under the delusion that the new guy coming in is going to give him the same thing Cam Ward giving him. So you put in a quarterback so you can see, and the coach can see, you know what? We might need to get us a dude out of the portal because we got him in full-time speed football right now. We got a not orange and green spring, but right now to see his job interview, and he didn't do a good job. So now your wide receivers and now everybody in the portal, now you can say, oh, you know what? We might need to get some wide receivers for this guy. We might need to go to the portal and get us a new quarterback. We might need to really put some focus on getting that guy for whom we might not give anything to. We might have to get him over here because this guy is not it. So you find that out in the bowl game. Cam Ward staying in the game, padding stats for no reason, doesn't give you that opportunity to see what you got moving forward, knowing Cam leaving. That's college football. That's
in that case, the coach should say, hey, we're going to sit you the second half.
The coach was the one told him, we're going to pull you. We're going to let you do what you do as far as the college record is concerned. We're going to pull you. Now, I got some names for you. Everybody's saying he should have stayed in the game. Jalen Smith, bowl game, draft, hurt him. So these same people who are arguing this point are going to say, oh, why did he stay in a meaningless game? You same people, if he got hurt, would have said, why did he stay in the game if he'd have played in a bowl game, meaningless game? Willis McGahee.
I don't if they get hurt in a meaningless game, as people like to say it. Hey, that's just part of it. I don't have a problem with the guy getting hurt.
Part of it is understanding. Part of it is understanding that you don't have to. Part of it is understanding that we put out an insurance policy. We ain't going in the playoffs. So what's the point? All right, let's go. What's your thoughts on this? If the Giants wait a minute. Before I get into that, Milton McKenzie breaks his leg. He's in an undefeated season. Milton McKenzie of UCF a few years back. Undefeated season. Milton McKenzie is a short quarterback. He's not going to be a highly favored NFL quarterback for any other reason than the fact that his team is on a Cinderella undefeated run. When he breaks his leg, what does that do for his draft? You do know that Cam Ward is pushing more 5'11", 5'10" than he really is listed 6'0". So if you get injured, the NFL scouts are going to say, that's when they really going to look at what you don't have. So you all's point of him quitting, I disagree with that because you all have had plenty of data in football to see that this is not about one game and you saying, oh, he should have finished. No, it's just what you gonna do. It's just
okay. Now, what if he had been out there in the first quarter, he gets injured or whatnot? Is the argument gonna still be, hey, when he got hurt in a meaningless game, or is it gonna be, man, he shouldn't have ever played in the first place?
Exactly. It's gonna be.
In that case, he should have never played.
Damned if you don't, because remember when Bosa in college said, "Hey, I hurt my ankle. It's not that bad, but what I'm about to do is I'm gonna sit out the whole season because I'm not about to mess up my draft status." Yeah. You all were upset with that. Like what I'm saying is, people such as yourself who saying you quit are never going to be satisfied because you like football to the manner that you like football. But the truth is, football is, this is where we are. Next week, what does Saquon Barkley need to get the record? 105 yards?
101 yards.
101 yards. Let's just say the Giants are playing them close in a meaningless game. But the record is broken in the first half, but the Giants have an opportunity to win. Are you going to say, when he breaks the record early, oh, Saquon, we need you because the most important thing is the playoffs? Are you going to say, Saquon, you should have stayed in the game and got your team the W, you shouldn't have went out there to play in the first place? No, you're not. No. You're going to say, pull Saquon. You're going to say, pull Saquon.
Yeah, I will pull him, but there's also something else.
It's the same thing.
There's nothing else for that team to accomplish in a bowl game. They aren't in the playoffs, so you try to win it. But if Saquon breaks the record in the first quarter, I would have a talk with him prior to the game. I'd say, Saquon, this is what we're gonna do. As soon as you break the record, regardless of what's going on with the game, because we're trying to get to a Super Bowl, we're gonna pull you.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah. But I'm not gonna. But if it's college and the guy, I'm not gonna say, hey, we're gonna pull you at halftime because college,
the level of where it is has nothing to do with the concept of the point. The point is meaningless. That game against the Giants and the Eagles next week is meaningless. Saquon does not have to play at all. No one would be mad if they said, man, bump that record. We don't want to risk you out here getting injured on against a rival who might be out because you played them and they made a bad deal. They might be out to make sure you don't get the record at all. So we're not going to take no chances because that mess up our playoff chances.
I don't think they would sit him because it'll be 3 weeks before he played again. If he doesn't play this week, then they got the bye.
My point is, the game has no bearing on anything but the record.
Yeah.
So it's up to the Giants on whether or not they want to play hard against him to say, we stopped you from getting the record, or we did all we could not to get you the record. There's a possibility. There's a possibility that he can be at, what did he need, 105? He can be at 101. He can be at 93 yards. But it's a 3rd and 8 or 4th and 8. You got to make a decision. Is this about the team or is this about a record? Because we need to pass the ball right now to get this win, since you and the people are creating this premise of winning the game is more important in a meaningless game. No, it's not. It was over. The college football season was over for Cam Ward in the first half. Period.
So don't play him. Period. That's my thing.
You play.
I wouldn't have played him. I wouldn't have had him play at all.
So he doesn't deserve the record. He doesn't deserve to put his name in the record.
If you're not gonna play the full game,
so don't play Saquon. Period. Next week. You can't have it both ways. No. You can't have it both ways.
There's a difference.
How are you going to allow a man? What's the difference? How are you going to allow a man to get a record, but you're not going to allow another man to get a record?
Yeah, get a record, but finish the game and let's see if we can win it.
Because
some of these guys, like I said, some of those guys on that team,
you wouldn't ask that of Saquon next week.
Some of those guys, Miami, will never play football again. They will want you will.
Some of those guys may never play football ever again.
Yeah, but they're gonna play after next week though. This is not their last game. For these guys in Miami, this was their last game.
You had all year long. Like for instance, that whole defense didn't play the whole game.
I'm sorry, I can't have my quarterback just. I'm pulling. Now, if there was even if they put out a false statement and said that hey, he had a slight twinge in the hamstring.
I'm sorry. As an individual who has an opportunity, this guy young. As an individual who has the opportunity to be a $500 million or $1 billion quarterback, I got y'all up 31-28, and y'all still doing the same thing y'all been doing all year long. Hey, here's what Miami gonna look like next year. Don't come at me with all of that. Oh, you don't pull your quarterback at the end of the game. That was that game that you all are asking about doesn't even deserve that type of argument, and that's just crazy that y'all even think. Y'all just talking to be talking.
I wouldn't have played them.
Y'all just talking to be talking.
If that was the case, and if it was predetermined, it was predetermined. But if not, if he said, yeah, pull me, I have a problem with that. The reason I don't have a problem with Saquon is pulled is because they got playoffs coming up. This isn't the end of the season.
That man got the draft coming up. It's not the end of his career.
Yeah, I still want to see. I still want to see the game continue.
Besides,
we expect some BS out of the University of Miami anyway.
You all with this quitting context didn't even know why you said what you said. You just said what you said. You just said what you said.
I don't.
You just said
don't
what you
play
said.
it all. Just don't play it all.
No, why not?
Just don't play it all.
You got a record to break.
It's a meaningless game. You just don't play it at all.
And then you would have argued at him about, hey man, your team in the bowl game, you ain't gonna play him. You ain't gonna get Restrepo no more yards. Come on, man.
No, I don't have a problem with you if the guy says, "Boy, hey, I'm not gonna play in this bowl game," and I'm because that's the norm now.
Just don't play in the second half at all. What's the difference in just don't play in the second half at all and don't play at all?
Because if you're trying to do it to avoid injury, man, could have got hurt that first play.
If he got hurt that first play, that is the risk he's taking to obtain his record. If Saquon Barkley get hurt early in the game next week against the Giants and don't break the record, that was the risk he was taking to break that record. What's the difference?
I have no problem with that because you're playing the game. But I just don't like for you to get pulled out and said, now if we got the game in hand, hey, I'm gonna sit you just like you do with other positions. Hey, we got the game in hand. We're gonna go ahead and start subbing people out, or we get blown out. We get blown out. Start subbing out.
He left his second string quarterback with the lead. What's the problem?
3-zip. That's not a lead. That's just somebody with a field goal.
3-zip in a meaningless game. To have an early spring practice going fast is not Cam Ward quitting. You all are just creating an argument that you all don't have anything, data, factual, anything for. Y'all just using y'all emotions because y'all being emotional about nothing. But the data for NFL top 3 prospects sits on the side of all of those who have been injured and had their careers taken away in meaningless games or bowl game because you people decided you should play the whole game and you need to play the bowl game because y'all from the 90s and that's what y'all feel and all that.
Just don't play. I would have been more. I'd be more satisfied and satisfied. You still only lost with
and look at what MVP. Look at the type of MVP and impact he is by not playing. Y'all couldn't do nothing without him.
You need to go. I would have had him not play at all. I would prefer that he not play at all. Or they said Mario can't coach.
We found out Mario can't coach. We showed you our defense is what it is. We need to recruit some defenders. I mean,
I just can't get with the pulling and not going back in because the game is still up in the air. I mean, if you had already said beforehand, let it be known, hey, let it be known to him and let it be known to your team. Let it be known to your team.
You sound like the guy who had an over-under on the game and y'all didn't get it.
No, I mean, let it be known to the team, hey.
You had an over-under on it? You had over-under on it?
Not at all. I nope, and I never bet anything on Miami anyway. But I would say, hey guys, we're gonna try to get toward this record as quickly as possible, and then we sitting them. That's what if the coach should have made that known
what happened next week with
to
Barkley?
The players.
You don't think Barkley's gonna do 10 carries straight and hopefully he break one for 60 and get this on over with?
Yeah, and everybody knows that's what's going to happen.
We're not risking injuring Lance Johnson and anybody else. Like, come on, man, think about it. It's the same thing.
Different.
There's football to be played in the future. You talking about next week? They're gonna play this week? No. Conceptually, it's football to be played in the future. The future is next week. The future is NFL draft. But at any rate, do you have any last word, Tank, besides about quitting?
Yeah, man, you wrong.
When that man get his name called top 5 instead of bottom of the first round because he got injured, I'm right, and I'll take that any day for that young man.
Yeah, but
he signed that other contract. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Last thoughts. I'm looking forward to seeing. Well, I've seen people talking about. Okay, Saquon breaks the record. There's something against it because it's in 17 games and Dixon did it in 16. And some people say, well, Dixon
OJ in 14
because OJ is 14.
Yep.
And my thing is this: 2,000 yards is 2,000 yards in the NFL, and you can't fault a guy because he got an extra game. Or if you want to compare it to OJ, he got 3 extra games because they've been extending the games. That means that we're going to take away some of these passing records and receiving yards because guys are playing 17 instead of 16. And people are saying Dickerson seems bitter because he said, he doesn't want to break the record. Dickerson has said anytime someone's come close to breaking the record, he said, no, I don't want him to break it. But if he breaks it, yes, I will be happy for him. Would I congratulate him? Yes, because it's an outstanding accomplishment. But nobody wants their record broken. That's not being it's yours. That's what you want. Records are made to be broken. But I don't think it's Dickerson being a bitter old man or anything like that, because he said when Adrian Peterson was coming up on it, he said it. When Barry was coming up on it, he said it. When Terrell Davis was threatening, and also Jamal Lewis, he's always said, no, I don't want my record to be broken. But I'm going to be happy for and congratulate whoever does it, because I know what it takes to do it. People need to stop taking stuff out of context and ask themselves, anything that you've done better than anybody else, even if it was winning the best dress, best ugly sweater contest for the family Christmas for 5 years in a row. Do you want someone to win the next year? No, you don't. You want to keep winning. It's not bitter or anything like that. It's like, hey, I like to have this. This is mine. Nobody's been better than me. I don't see the problem with what Dickerson said. Me personally, because I like Dickerson, because he's my boy. I would like to see him still have the record. It's a very good possibility that it's going to be gone in the first 5 carries. But, and hopefully the Giants will do what Brett Favre would not do what Brett Favre did for Michael Strahan. But Saquon, best of luck to you trying to break it. If you do break it, congratulations. If you don't break it, it was still an outstanding season, and I'll be glad if Dixon still has a record. But we can't fault people for not wanting someone to be better than them.
I think I personally had 10 more minutes to go in today's game when he got pulled. They were gashed. Dallas was gassed, giving up the run. Dallas been giving up the run all year long. I think he should have got about 80 more.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should have just gotten about 80 more and
support SUPPORT.
Needed like 25 next week or something like that. Or got all he could. And then about 25 next week. You want your linemen not to have to put in a lot of work to get that 101 yard. Like it's not they're going to celebrate with you, but y'all got the bye week. You look like you're gonna get it. It's just like sometimes you kind of gotta you don't want them boys going into the playoffs to have to put in a lot of work. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And so then too, on top of that, Eric Dickerson, my man, if he doesn't break it, fire up your cigar. Because no one gets mad at the 72 Dolphins. People are pushing toward that undefeated season and they don't get it. They celebrate it. No one wants you to break that record. So it's just what it is, and if you want to put an asterisk by it in your head, it was 16 and not 17, you have every right. Just like OJ would always point out, it was 14 though. Even to you, Eric. So with that being said, that's just what it is. Now, my last words are this. Christmas Day does not belong to the NFL is the behemoth of American sports. I need you all to know that. And when I say behemoth, that B is for large, not B for Beyonce. The NFL does not need Beyonce for ratings.
Right.
NBA, let me tell you what you've done. You've taken your fan base and you took a day that you had ownership of. I'm going to say it's not your day, but you had ownership of that day because it was almost like an understood point. Don't mess with Thanksgiving. We won't mess with Christmas. Even though both of us playing around that time. Don't mess with Thanksgiving. We won't mess with Christmas. But you took your fan base and you disallowed them an opportunity to love you on Christmas as much as they love football on Thanksgiving. And that's all your fault. Because I'm going to tell you something. Roger Goodell in the NFL, they kill mosquitoes with an axe. They saw blood in the water and they went to get you. And they made it hard because they didn't put it in a situation to flip channels back and forth. They made you subscribe to Netflix and you got to log in and log out just to get to another channel depending on how many TVs you got in the house and what devices you got. But the point is, it's not a flip switch channel type of situation. And they're blaming your competitiveness, even though the NFL had 2 games that weren't competitive at all. Remind you of Super Bowls in the 90s. All those threes you're shooting. All that time off you're taking. But let me tell you my theory on what your problem is. We don't know you anymore. I was looking at, is it Helena Hidalgo, Juju Watkins, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. And I said, that's the old NBA. We learned to love them in college. And as they moved into the professional level, we wanted them to do well. They became our heroes back then. But we don't get to see Jordan make the shot. Carmelo have a great tournament. Larry Johnson and Stacey Augmon dominate. Grant Hill dominate. The Fab Five. We don't get to see them come in and fall in love with them from the collegiate ranks. Now, that's not to say that we haven't had the LeBrons, the Kobes, the KGs to come in. Tracy McGrady's come in, but we didn't see the uprise of Derrick Rose in the tournament, John Morant in the tournament. We found out who Dwayne Wade was in the tournament. And we love them. Somebody asked, what would you rather see? The Cowboys in San Francisco with Michael Jackson at the halftime show on Christmas, or it's the 90s, Air Jordan versus the New York Knicks with TLC at halftime, aired at the same time. As much as I love the Cowboys, I know them people would have been tuned in to MJ. It's just the truth. People don't sit behind helmets. And you all have allowed a shield to break you. I don't know what you got to do, but the NFL stands for not for long. And I'm telling you, if you don't fix the NBA, it won't be long. It won't be long before we celebrating football on Thanksgiving and football on Christmas. Because guess what they also play on New Year's Day?
Football.
And with that being said, it's been a great show. Tank. Oh, excuse me. Before I go to Tank. Subscribers, we love you. We love all that you've been done for us. We love all that you're doing. We love everything about you. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Go to our TikTok page, comment, subscribe, hit the like button. Instagram, noj.a.s.s. noj.a.s.s show. X, and that's not Dez Bryant. No Jazz Show. Follow us on Facebook. Befriend us. You're a part of this growth as well. Tank. Salute these people, man. They had to sit up here and listen to all that today.
And we will see y'all.
We will see y'all in the new year. Happy New Year. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at noj.a.s.s. Follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.